He really was a self-educated man, and he had collected in his library, probably in excess of 2,500 books on the subjects in which he was interested, which would have been all types of combat, hand-to-hand combat, Western, Eastern, ancient, modern combat, with weapons, without weapons, all types of philosophy, Chinese philosophy, Western philosophy, modern, ancient, psychology, self-motivation, fitness training.
He now channels it mentally. The writings of the Buddha, Alan Watts, Carl Rogers, Lao Tzu, Friedrich Perls, Daisetsu Suzuki, and Jiddu-Krishnamurti become his constant companions. Of these authors, Lee is particularly taken by the thoughts of Krishnamurti, who states that truth cannot be organized without invalidating it.
You have to be a light to yourself, not the light of a professor or an analyst or a psychologist or the light of Jesus or the light of the Buddha. You have to be a light to yourself in a world that is utterly becoming dark.
I believe that part of the concept that he enjoyed so much about Krishnamurti's philosophy was one of self-reliance, and if you're looking for truth, you must look inward rather than outward.
Lee begins to write about his new insight and its application to martial art.
Violence is not only physical, but a great deal, much more psychological. When I conform to a pattern.
When there is a way, there lies the limitation.
And the authority which the churches, the organized religions assume, is not religion. That is, in that there is all the sense of obedience, conformity, acceptance, the hierarchical approach to life, the division between the Protestant, the Catholic, the Hindu, the Muslim, and all, that's not religion. So when you negate all that, which means you are no longer a Hindu, no longer a Catholic, no longer belonging to any sectarian outlook, then your mind then asks, what is then truly religion? This is not with their rituals, with their masters, with their saviors. That's not religion. Therefore, when the mind discards that intelligently because it has seen it is not, then what is religion? Religion is not what I think, but religion is the sense of comprehension of the totality of existence, in which there is no division between you and me.
Not believing styles anymore. I mean, I do not believe that there is such thing as like a Chinese way of fighting or the Japanese way of fighting or whatever. So styles tends to not only separate men, you know, because they have their own doctrines, and then the doctrine became the gospel truth, you know, that you cannot change, you know. If you do not have styles, if you just say, well, here I am, you know, as a human being, how can I express myself? Totally and completely. Now, that way, you won't create a style, because style is a crystallization, you know. I mean, that way it's a process of continuing growth.
In the name of humanicide, or in the name of love, or in the name of God. Hi everyone, I am B.Rahimian as a Jkd Researcher of the philosophy of Jeet Kune, or philosophy of Bruce Lee as a Li Xiaolang, or Li Zhongfang. I hope that you are all be okay at this time, as in now, as a present time. And I want to talk about the Truthment of the Jkd as a Jeet Kune, and on the other hand as a not Chinese name. I know that Jeet Kune is a Chinese name, and on the other hand the philosophy of Jeet Kune is not any relates to this the Jeet Kune as a writing, or for example as a this name. Yes. And what is the Truthment of Jeet Kune? What is the Jeet Kune? Jeet Kune at 2 days as a martial art of Bruce Lee. And on the other hand, the Truthment of Jeet Kune is not this. It's not limited to this form or these sentences or this picture. Yes, Jeet Kune is not just a martial art. This is the Truthment of Jkd. And the great philosophy behind that, nor is it limited to anything or anyone. I mean Jeet Kune. Jeet Kune is not limited to anything or any person or anyone. Even the Bruce Lee, who personally, I love the Bruce Lee. I love. I can't say my feeling. Just for example, one of the person or one of the fan of Bruce Lee on the earth. Yes, I personally love the Bruce Lee. But on the other hand, it's Jkd or Jeet Kune. It's not related to the Truthment of Jeet Kune. It's not limited to Bruce Lee. It is better. Just Bruce Lee just found that. Find that. Yes. Recover that. This energy. Jeet Kune is an energy, and that it comes from inside of human, as a human inside. For example, it is no name. It has no name. Yes, and the persons who roles most roles in this creation of, for example, as a Jeet Kune, as a Jkd, as a martial arts of, for example, minimum martial art of Bruce Lee. Minimum Jkd is a martial arts, as a self-defense of, for example, as a martial arts. And that is not mixed. That is not mixed of martial arts, because it's based on the real sense of human, as a human. Yes, real sense of man, and it, for example, you can think, you can imagine. Energy, you don't have anything, you don't see anything, and just darkness, and you don't think even to the darkness. There is no, for example, light, and there is no dark. Yes, and this is a beyond of energy. Yes. as a vast or beyond. Yes, and you can feel it. Jeet Kune is everything, for example. Yes, and on the other hand, the persons who roles most roles in the Jkd of Bruce Lee is Jiddu-Krishnamurti. Yes, Master Jiddu-Krishnamurti is one of the biggest philosopher on the earth. Yes, as known. It is known in the historical of human, and he was a researcher of the man or human, and or life, researcher of life, and he was an Indian person, and on the other hand, master of as a philosophy of Bruce Lee in school of Bruce Lee, or it's better school, or for example university. Yes, university of that Bruce Lee was learning at the university as a philosophy science by Jkd Krishnamurti, as a Jiddu Krishnamurti, and he changed, he challenged, he has a special challenge to the Bruce Lee, and Bruce Lee at that time, for example, he has 4 schools as a John Pon Kung Fu schools in the 4 states of United States, 4 states of America, as a John Pon Kung Fu Institute. Yeah, and at that time Bruce Lee has for example, especially thinking about himself, just himself, and at that time suddenly Bruce Lee, Master Bruce Lee, liked them, and on the other hand, Bruce Lee was thinking. Yes, he had been thinking about what he gonna do for himself, or what is the better, for example, life for the student, for himself, and on the other hand automatically for his students and his environments. Yes, the surrounding him environments. And at that time, Bruce Lee didn't want to, for example, waste his time after Jiddu Krishnamurti. For example, he went to his sessions, as Mrs. Linda said to the documentary of Bruce Lee. And Linda said, Bruce went to listen the Krishnamurti speech of Krishnamurti, Jiddu Krishnamurti, and Bruce Lee had been real study, self-study, and very hard study about a human or himself. Yes, and after that, Bruce Lee wrote the book as a talk of Jeet Kune or Jkd, and on the other hand the philosophy of Jeet Kune. Yeah, and unfortunately the mafia as a behind the world. This is a Truthment, the Human Insight Group more research about the killing of Bruce Lee or Master Bruce Lee, and they destroyed further of the books as a philosophy, as a reality of human, not just martial arts. Bruce Lee did not limit it to writing as a, for example, just martial art books as a self-defense or a street fighting 1 to 4, and on the other hand He wrote especially books about, for example, mind, one of the mind, and the Truthment of the soul of human. Do you know soul? Yes. On the other hand, about meditation and something like this. How better can life, and how can I? Self-defense is very good. As Bruce Lee said, self-defense, just for example, control somebody that attack to you, and you can control by self-defense of Jkd or Jeet Kune, and you can, for example, control yourself and automatically control the someone attacking to you, not you attack to him. This is not, for example, competition, or this is not attaction. Yes. And so on the other hand, Jeet Kune, the reality of Jeet Kune, or Truthment of Jeet Kune, it gets of the inside of human. And Jiddu Krishnamurti is very especially visions, supervision. There is no vision. Yes, and unfortunately, at this time, we can see, for example, the coronavirus that produced by the mafia, the China mafia, on the world, and for example, other things, for example, special noises for human as the people of the world, as me and you and other persons. And I'm just, for example, inform, for example, some information that I have as a Babak. Yes, as one of you, as a human. Yes. And the Truthment has no path, yes. And as Jiddu Krishnamurti said, or Bruce Lee said, and one of us has a especially thinking or feeling. Yes, this is a Jkd or Jeet Kune. Yes, and I hope that I can translate, or I translate my feeling to you. And I'm not Bruce Lee, and you are not. So, and Bruce is Bruce, and Jkd is Jkd. This is the Truthment of Jeet Kune, or human inside. And even Bruce Lee, in the end of is one of the books that is written, and that is about include that is written. I wish I had a name. I wish I had no name for it. He means Jeet Kune. Yes, as Bruce said, this is a truth, man. And because the energy or love has no name. Yes. And thank you for your listening to me, and just accepted about the killing of Bruce Lee, and maybe he knew that about what you're gonna do as a Chinese mafia, and he maybe knew about coronavirus at that time as a future. Yes. And why did they kill this person as a Bruce Lee? Yes. Thank you very much for your listening to me, and the group of humans said very thankful if you send your information to the www.facebook.com/Bruce Bruce Lee Jkd School. Thank you very much.